Hello Vault Hunters, today we're going to talk about Rafa's arc knives. I am always seeing a lot of confusion around this action skill, with many players saying it's not viable and it sucks. Which is not true, arc knives is very much viable, and it can be great at mobbing and bossing, especially leveling, since you don't need really good weapons to make this work, you don't need weapons at all. However, like many builds, this one has pros and cons. The largest problem this build has is flying enemies. Even though your dash attack has a massive range and hitbox, allowing you to hit many flying enemies right on top of you, sometimes this will just not be enough and you have a hard time trying to hit those wretches or some bosses that stay out of your range. The second problem is that the version of this build for bossing requires a lot of gear and preparation, it's very endgame. However, the version of this build for regular mobbing and leveling is amazing. You can just use the skill most of the time and you don't even need to rely on your weapons. Hell, you can deal fire, shock and corrosive damage all at the same time and no enemy is going to be able to resist you. This playstyle is very similar to Zero's many must fall in Borderlands 2. As long as there are enemies on the screen, you can keep the action skill going. And you kill them easily as long as you don't try and face tanks on big telegraphed attacks or obvious explosions from barrels and enemy grenades, or of course your own. So let's go through the three main ways to build arc knives: splash damage, skill damage and duration, and bossing. For splash damage, we want to focus mostly on the left part of the skill tree. So we're going to go Midnight Oil first for more damage. Next we're going to get Dial In, which gives us crit chance for our melee attacks. And Saldar, which heals us every time we hit a melee critical hit. Then we're going for Thunder Cutter, which is going to make our melee damage reduce shock, melee splash damage, and we have some more splash damage for us. Then we're going to the right side. El Borracho, it's going to give us more corrosive damage. Empurre, it's going to give us more action skill duration. And the Capstone Galvanic Panic does a bunch of stuff. Most of it useless. The only really good part of this skill is the action skill duration restore 5% per kill. Whenever you kill an enemy, you're gonna get a little bit of your action skill back. Now we're gonna go to the red tree and get Shield Barriers to help us with our shield regeneration, help us with our survivability, help us with our extra damage when dashing. And since this is an overdrive skill, you have your overdrive during the entirety of your action skill, so this is gonna happen. So this is the first version. We're going to stay a lot inside our arc knives through critting and killing enemies, and we're going to do a lot of damage based on our shields, and we try to get some shield survivability inside the red tree. This is the first one, the easy one to do. Now let's go for the second version, which is a little bit riskier but more satisfying. This one is all high risk, high reward. We're going to start the same way as the previous one: Midnight Oil, Dial In, and Saldar. But our first augment is going to be Dead Man Walking. And our first augment is going to be Dead Man Walking. When our skill duration runs out, we are going to drain health to keep the action skill going. And whenever we deal damage to an enemy, we're gonna get Overshield. Now we're going to go to the middle tree. Here we're gonna get Collaboration Ignition to deal bonus damage with all skills and ordnance in the elements of our current weapon. Okay, so just more 30% extra bonus damage. Now I have Synergia. Whenever you deal ordnance damage, we're going to deal increased gun damage and melee damage. The important part here is ordnance damage and melee damage. Because we are always doing melee damage when we're using our arc knives, we don't really deal any ordnance damage. We can't throw grenades when you're using this skill. However, let's just put some extra points in Artilleria just to put in the final skill here. El Diablito. A portion of the incendiary damage Rafa deals also deals bonus incendiary ordnance damage. So we're going to deal ordnance damage just by hitting the enemies with our arc knives. Since we're going to get Inferno Protocol, whenever we receive damage, we store damage and then deal this damage back when we attack the enemy. And we're going to be receiving damage all the time. First, because you're going melee, you're going to be charging the enemy, so you're going to get hit. And also, you are using Deadman Walking. When your skill duration is over, you're going to take health damage. This damage is going to keep you always dealing some bonus incendiary damage. This damage is going to make you so always proccing Diablito, which will also buff your melee damage. So, you're going to do a lot of damage from this. Also, you're gonna get some El Borracho to do some more corrosive damage. And this isn't really important. Not really. You're just gonna put some more health regeneration from sustainable energy. Since you are on overdrive the entire time, every little bit of health regeneration you can get is very helpful. Now, we are doing a lot of ordnance. Like I said, why shouldn't we get some more splash damage or some more ordnance cooldown rate? With this build, we are going to stay inside the arc knives the entire time. And while you're using the arc knives, you cannot use ordnance. So these skills are mostly useless. Ordnance cooldown rate, useless. You just got the points to keep going down the tree. And Parting Gift. Whenever you use a dash attack, you leave behind a grenade. Or Booming Business. Whenever you crit an enemy, you have a chance to drop a grenade. This is awful. You're going to be hitting the enemies in melee range, and you're going to drop a grenade at your own foot. Your grenade is either going to be shit and deal no damage, or your grenade is going to be really good and kill you. These two skills are a trap. Do not get them, they're going to get you killed more than the enemies. Do not get them. We just don't want the ordnance damage to be into our melee damage. Now, for our specializations, what do we want? We want to go for Runner until we get Groundbreaker. Non-melee attack damage and slam damage is stored, so every damage you deal that isn't melee damage is going to buff your next melee damage. You also want Bare Arms. Melee damage also now gets benefits from gun damage, so the more gun damage you get some more melee damage still. We also want action skill cooldown whenever a rep gets activated. You're going to be healing a lot. Whenever your skill run out, you just heal yourself and already get 25% of your skill back. I Am a Gun. Action skill damage now benefits from gun damage again, and your action skill damage is melee damage, is what you want. And whenever you can also get some Honed Mind to get even more critical chance. And we are going to be critting a lot. As you can see, with this build you can just keep on hitting the enemy over and over. This skill takes a long time to go down. And now we start to lose health. We are losing health and it's fine. Just by critting the enemy, our health is going up again. There's no way you're going to die as long as you keep dealing damage. And your skill's never going to run out. It's fine. Every time you crit, get more health. Every time you kill, you get more health. Oh, you're losing a lot of health, there are no enemies. Just use a rep kit and it's fine again. Now, for our bossing build, we wanna get Permalast. Whenever Rafa deals damage with an action skill to an enemy, he has a chance to deal that damage again, which is pretty much double damage. However, there is a legendary class mod that gives us 5 points into Permalast, which is the legendary Buster class mod. If you get that, you're going to buff your damage a lot with this skill. There are many ways to improve upon this build. With melee and skill firmwares, Some shields give you a lot of bonuses too. Some rep kits also have leech, which help you to heal yourself while you do damage. There are many ways to improve on this. For example, the legendary shield heavyweight is pretty much a 50% melee damage all the time. Extra 50% melee damage. And this Grimidor class mod, which grants you 10% more crit chance and 5% action skill duration every time you crit. This one especially synergizes well with the splash damage builds, since the second one doesn't really need refreshing action skill time. But the 10 plus crit chance will keep you even more healed as well. Anyways, this is Rafa's Arc Blades, a very nice change of pace to the regular Borderlands playstyle that supports you even if you don't have any good weapons and will help you level up until you can farm some great stuff. This class absolutely shreds mobs. It's great for leveling, unless they are flying away from you. Do not be dissuaded from using it. If you like its Zero's melee playstyle in Borderlands 2, if you enjoy chaining kills with many must fall, this is the closest thing we have to that right now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.